cry of treasure and dread, where the reefs hide a kingdom of bone. But the breeze tastes the spice and the gamble feels right, when your heart's set on freedom's bite. Raise a toast, stake your claim, let the world know your name, on another Caribbean night. Sail from a cove where the warm trade winds blow and the silver blue dolphins glide, where the rum's always strong and the nights run long and the tide is a thief at your side. When the moon's riding high and the lanterns are low and the waves start to shimmer bright, come aboard, cast away, let the sea have its say, on another Caribbean nights. Caribbean nights, like Caribbean days, more often than not, they're wilder than not, in the boldest of ways. Caribbean nights, neath Caribbean stars. Oh, rogue with a grin, could win or give in, out there past the bars. The shore keep a whispering lore of the captains who never came home, and the gulls overhead cry of treasure and dread, where the reefs hide a kingdom of bone. But the breeze tastes the spice and the gamble feels right, when your heart's set on freedom's bite. Raise a toast, stake your claim, let the world know your name, on another Caribbean night. Caribbean nights. Caribbean nights.
I had to move inside. The car was hot. And he was getting on my nerves. Anyway. So, to kick things off, I'm going to start with an idea that was given to me by a friend of mine who I met through the gathering. He goes by Archaeopirate. He is tagged down below. He gave me the idea of a pirate-themed one where it's pirates versus the East India Trading Company. I figure we'll do a... Let me think here. 7v7. Captains, first mates, gunnery crew 3, and boarding party captains 2. So, 7v7, Marvel versus DC. Who's going to be which? Give me a second. Ha! I have a coin. It has a skull and crossbones and a tree. I believe it's Tree of Life. I think it's that simple. So, I'm going to flip for Marvel. And if it lands skull and crossbones, they are the pirates. The tree, they are the East India Trading Company. Here we go.
Skull and crossbones. Marvel is the pirates.
All right, 7v7, Marvel versus DC. Marvel's the pirates, DC is the East India Trading Company. Let's go. All right, first up, captain of the pirate ship. Let's... Oh, I'm afraid. Pete. Peter? What are you doing? Did somebody go after Aunt May again? Alright, DC, captain of the East India Trading Company ship. I'm disappointed and also not surprised. Yeah. Alright, Marvel, first mate, pirate crew under Captain Spider-Man. Oh, there's got to be a real good explanation for this one. Still trying to figure out what that might be. Anyway, DC, first mate. Oh boy. Okay. 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 All right. Marvel Pirate Gunners Crew. You know what? I'm just going to run these 3 in a row. So, first up, first member of the Marvel Pirate Gunners. This could be all kinds of bad. Well, does he need to use a cannon? Can he? Okay, second member of the Marvel Gunner team. It's an odd choice. It's okay, but odd. And then the final member of the Marvel Gunners team is that's a problem. That's a problem. Okay. Okay. DC. DC's Gunner team, first member of the Gunner team, is okay. Wouldn't have been my first choice. Wouldn't have been my first choice, or second, or third. Okay, so second member of the DC Gunners team. That works. That works. Yeah, that works. Okay. Final member of the DC Gunners team. Hopefully something to balance. Well, I mean, I was about to say balance the scales. You get what you ask for, I guess. Hopefully it helps. Alright, now the boarding crew. We'll just assign captains to the boarding crews. First boarding crew captain, Marvel. If there's anything left of the ship to board. This is a problem. DC, assuming you still have a ship left, to fight. Yeah, who's your first boarding captain? Don't trust her. All right. Final member, Marvel crew, second boarding captain. If you need one. Oh boy. I need somebody to explain this team. This crew, I mean, because okay, DC, you're gonna have to dig deep here, and you gotta pull something out. You gotta pull something out, because this is not going well for you. It's not. Final secondary boarding captain. Final member of the DC crew. Just Yep.
Norseforged Gathering 6, and my voice is shot, so you'll have to forgive the more sexy inflection, if you will. However, I decided it'd be fun to go through and look at all the peace offerings that people left Bobo. My friend Iron Captain left me a bottle of Viking blood, imported from Denmark, don't you know? Based on a recipe from the 1700s, Viking blood is infused with hibiscus and ginger. And while opened off camera, I have yet to taste this, which I will now be remedying. You like the shot glass, by the way? You might recognize it if you tuned into the Spell Shots Against Humanity stream last summer. Oh my goodness. Oh. That is absolutely gorgeous. The honey from the mead, mixing with the hibiscus, with the ginger coming up through the back. This is absolutely delightful. Oh, man. This is absolutely going back in the pantry, and I will be saving it for a long time yet. It's not the only mead I was gifted, as my friend Archaeopirate also gave me some Moonjoy Meadery Pirate's Blunder, pineapple, banana, caramel, and rum barrel chips. It's a rum-flavored mead. Although, unlike the Viking's blood, which comes with a cork, this comes with a cap, which means I'll have to wait for a special occasion to open it. Spell shots. Gentlemen, I think it's time.
Shots Against Humanity, a love child of various origins, to say the least. Inspired by the Hot Asian DM's video on replacing spell slots with shots of alcohol, and Shez Aiden's wizard battles. Also Hot Asian DM's video on using the white cards from Cards Against Humanity, like when people have to roll, like, roll perception. Okay, what do I see? The white half of Barack Obama. Like that. But those are now the spells. It is a tournament bracket style wizard duel. 2 wizards enter, 1 remains. And then 2 more enter, and then 1 remains. And then another 2 enter, and then 1 remains. And then another 2 enter, and 1. At the beginning of each round, 2 wizards enter the arena with 30 HP. A coin toss determines who casts first. The first wizard to cast will say, I cast, takes a shot, draws a card, and they have to say what's on that card. It is then up to the commentators to describe what has taken place on the field. Now, of course, after casting, the wizard rolls a d20 to determine damage, and that plays in to what the commentators describe happening on the field. Now, if there are certain lines you will not cross, we understand that, but understand that if you draw said card that you will not say, you have to take a second shot of alcohol. Magical backlash, it's a bitch. Needless to say, the whole affair is naughty debauchery at its best, and goddammit, I wouldn't have it any other way. There is a bit of a catch with these, however. This up-and-coming round of Spell Shots Against Humanity, which time and date has yet to be decided, has in the past been a charity event, and so will this. Our friend Defying Cupcake recently had a bout with cancer, and we hosted the stream as a way to help raise money to help her financial situation. It has since returned, and so shall Spell Shots, as well as the Lookout Cleans Up Cancer stream, which will take place later in the summer, as next week, Derek Kami, Homebrew Himbo, Military Fox, and myself are all going to dress up in costumes, with Derek dressing up as a butler, for he has a special role to play. More will be discussed on that later. But we're going to play Goblin Cleanup Crew. For the Lookout Cleans Up Cancer stream, we're going to spend virtually all day playing games that revolve around cleaning shit up. Inmate outfits. Now back to the Spell Shots. In the future, when we host Spell Shots, sometimes it will be Spell Shots Against Humanity, and other times it will be Spell Shots for charity. Against Humanity will more or less just be a group stream. A few select people will be chosen to participate, and it'll all be for laughs. But when we do it for charity, The winner of the tournament will have all of the money raised during that stream donated to a charity of their choosing. Whoever said nothing good ever came from drinking alcohol? I mean, my parents drank, and I'm here.
And with that, we are back, everybody. And with sound. You do not understand the frustration I had last week with the no sound. And I will show you. Somehow, the pirate had the mic. You see how the mic is all lit up? That means there's power going to it. Well, that happened last week. Except also last week, this knob right here happened. Somehow it got turned way the hell off. So, with that, we are back, everybody. Welcome to Rogue Bard Advice, the weekly D&D, TTRPG, sports and everything podcast, nerdcast, if you will, where I, your host, the rogue pirate archaeologist, the rogue thief pirate archaeologist, Captain Bartholomew Bones McCoy, or Chris, whichever you know me by, answers the questions that are burning in your minds. Sometimes they're D&D related. Most of the time, though, they're related to me job. And not me job as a pirate, me job as an archaeologist. So, I want to welcome everybody into the chat. This be the 56th episode of Rogue Bard Advice. 56. I want to welcome everybody in. There's things going on in the chat if you don't know. Kirk's like, oh no, your voice is going again. Wait, it's back. No, it's gone. No, it's back. Ha. A note on the captions. They are incredibly helpful for those of us who have auditory processing issues, or maybe we just want life to come preloaded with subtitles. Just make sure you're not watching it in a foreign language. I'm sorry, some of you like watching your anime in 4 languages, but the guy you saw previously, that is Popo Blanco, and he has a channel where all he does is on his own. He's nowhere related to anything having to do with Team Foursquare, but there's a reason he's called Popo Blanco. He's a voice actor. Very good friend of mine. But yeah. So, want to welcome in Kirk and Kevin and Puffy Cheeto and Jim and Yokai and everybody else. Everybody else who is in the stream. I was told Puffy Cheeto's brother was going to be in the chat, so welcome into your first stream, sir. Is it okay to laugh, or is it too soon? Okay to laugh or too soon for what? What went on in the chat? Oh, no, you could laugh because I'm a dumbass. Oh, he be lurking. Welcome, Puffy brother. Well, we had a so let me tell you, if you haven't already seen last week's stream, let me recap for you. I didn't change anything from this stream from last week, mainly because we didn't do anything. Once I figured out the problem, we went live again, and we went for another hour. But we just talked about something near and dear to me. As you all know, I wrote a book. So last week, we discussed the book. And I wanted to show everybody, and I showed it on the stream last week, but now that everybody else is here, I wanted to show everybody. This, yes, it came out of the invisible bag of holding there, Kirk. This is how I envision the special edition of me book looking. Full leather cover, leather tie wrap, and I think this would be something neat and different that nobody else, no other book, no other author is doing. What are your guys' opinions on this? Leave your opinions on the chat. Should I find a place that will bind my Pirates novel in something like this? Or should I just leave it as it is? I know you guys haven't seen a new copy of my book. I don't have any new copies of my book. What I discussed last week is I gave out all of my ARCs to all other people. Voice actors such as Popo Blanco got a copy. Autumn Ivy got a copy. Taco Reacts got a copy. Norseforged from the Norseforged Gathering got a copy for him and Allie to share. Who else? Who else got a copy? Pirate Captain Patty Sue of the pirate ship The Dog Mom got a copy. So many people of the Norseforged Gathering. I gave out 8 copies at the Norseforged Gathering. I had sent 2 copies previously to other individuals. My stepdaughter in California and a good friend of mine who was in my anthropology courses in college. I sent her a copy because she's a book reader and a book reviewer for, well, at least she was for the Permian Basin library system or something like that. But she moved up to PA, so I don't know if she's still doing the Permian Basin thing. Yeah, a leather cover. And yeah, I think finding a publisher willing to do so is absolutely going to be the big problem. But with that being said, I did reach out to Patty Sue earlier this week, and she is a little more than halfway through the novel, and she's got questions, but the questions she has, I'm pretty sure she only has because she's only gotten halfway through the novel. So, but she's absolutely enjoying the novel. I'm expecting nothing but good reviews from the people who I gave my novel to. If they're willing to give me a review, otherwise, but it's looking to be. I want to look at publishing the copy for print and for purchase early to mid to maybe late August. So forgive me if I seem selfish or childish last week for demanding a deluxe book. I just wanted to seem supportive. No, Kevin, you're fine. I didn't take it as you being selfish or childish. You want a deluxe book? I can accommodate. I didn't take it as you going overboard. You need to hear another chapter. Well, if I give you another chapter, what are you going to do for the pirate there, Puffy Cheeto? And there is nothing wrong with wanting nice stuff. I will tell you this, there are some chapters that I cannot read on the YouTube because they're that rated. Or maybe they're even that rated. So I would have to pull it up and do everything else, and maybe one, you will definitely buy a leather covered dish. So the normal price of the novel, I'm setting the normal price at probably $29.95, probably $30 for the regular copy, for the normal copy. Something like this, depending on how much it's going to cost me to publish or to get it bound, like this, is probably gonna be close to $90. I'm fairly certain that's gonna be what this is gonna cost. So 30 for softback or hardback normal. So 30 for the softback, and it's probably gonna be somewhere in the neighborhood of, well, it's usually $19.95 for a softback, but because of how big my book is, $30 is the going rate for a book that size for softback. So probably $40 to $45 for the hard copy, and then the special deluxe leather edition probably going to be $90. Well, Puffy Cheeto, I might have to acquiesce to your request. That means okay. Also, I have the hair down today, and I wanted to show you guys the whole pirate look for when I went to the Norseforged gathering. This was absolutely, I got to remember which way my camera goes. This is absolutely Captain Bartholomew Bones McCoy. I even have the beardy tentacles in still. We're going on like 2.5 weeks with the beardy tentacles. Will all of the physical copies come in PDF also? Yes. And the PDF, usually PDFs run $3 to $4.99. Just because of what they are. You guys tell me, should I price my PDF in the $5 to $10 range, or should I keep it between the $3 to $5 range? I'm not selling my PDF for 99 cents. It's not. It's too. That's too cheap. I don't get anything off of it. Well, you'd be even more jealous to know that I don't get split ends. My wife is jealous. She is absolutely jealous. But enough about me book for now. We will have plenty of time at the end of the chat to talk more about me book if you guys want. You would spend between 5 and 10 for the PDF. Cool. Well, we will, when that time comes, we will discuss more about all of that. Free if with physical copy, 3 to 5 if not. That might be. We might be able to work something with that. But yeah, we have news. I didn't share this news last week, but we have news, and we have sad news. Chat, sad news first, or do you want regular news first? And the regular news is D&D news. So tell me sad news first or regular D&D news. I'm good with both, and I just found out about the regular news about what about 6-7 hours ago. Sad news first. Anthony Head has passed away. Rupert Giles passed away today at the age of 72 due to complications of pneumonia. Anthony Head. Rupert Giles, or whatever his characters. I don't remember his character's name on Ted Lasso, but very, very, very great actor. Made every performance his own. It's not the only sad news. We also lost Kyle Busch 2 weeks ago due to complications of pneumonia that turned to sepsis. And I wasn't a big fan of Kyle Busch, but that's still no way for somebody to go. Also, I also just heard today that James something, James Handy, known for his roles as the exterminator, bit roles, not big roles, not big roles. The his bit parts were in Jumanji. He was the exterminator that they brought in to kill the spiders before they realized that it was part of the game. He also played the old man who worked at the bar in Top Gun Maverick, or was the father of Jennifer Connelly in Top Gun Maverick. No, it wasn't. It wasn't the father. He was just an old man who worked at the bar, in Top Gun Maverick. He was apparently stabbed to death today by his girlfriend's wife's son, so his stepson, or no, it was his girlfriend's son. So they weren't married yet, but he was old too. So I'm not saying that's a reason for him to be stabbed to death, but it wasn't his family. It wasn't his son. It wasn't like Rob Reiner's kid. But he was stabbed to death today in California. His name was James Handy, Kevin. James Handy. He was 81 years old, and he passed away in Tarzana, Los Angeles. Yeah, another Hollywood stabbing. Well, Puffy, was he 41? I didn't know you. I didn't know you and I were the same age, Puffy. I thought I was older than you. Hold on, mate. Let's see if we only get two. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. I wanted to sneeze off the mic so it didn't blast you guys out, because I tend to do that. Well, yeah, because I'm born in November, so anybody who was born in 83 before November is older than me. Anyway, with that being said, that's the sad news. That is the sad news so far. You're absolutely welcome, guys. I'm a considerate pirate. Since when are pirates considerate? Anyway, now on to the fun news, the D&D news. For those of you who like the TV series Ted, and for those of you who liked, who like Brennan, the Dungeon Master, Wizards of the Coast, and D&D Beyond have worked together to create the pre-made characters that were in the last season of Ted. So you guys can use these pre-made characters in your D&D games. Woohoo! Scary knob of silence. It's actually a push button for the mute, Kirk. Oh, no, Puffy. I'm definitely older than you then, because I'm 83. I'm November of 1983. Are you? Nothing but rolls eyes for Hasbro D&D ideas. Okay, so I'm older than you by 3 months. Okay. Nope, that's perfect. But yes, you could play as a teddy bear Jesus. If you remember Ted from season 1. Or not Ted from season 1, Ted from the movie. He's teddy bear. No, was it it was the TV series, because they go to church. They don't go to church in the movie, they go to church in the TV series. But Teddy Bear Jesus, or Brennan as the monster, the big bad evil guy. So I saw that. I thought it was neat and interesting, and everything. And who wouldn't want to be a teddy bear bard? That's the great thing. A teddy bear bard. Wouldn't that just be an Ewok? Yeah, they were kids. They were in high school. Did you not see the TED TV series? You should. It's on Peacock. Season 1 and Season 2 are on Peacock. Sounds Ewok-y to me. You know, right? Especially since the little Ewok teddy bears start freaking a band at the end of the movie. A celebratory band. He couldn't even get the Cantina guys to show up. I kind of miss, that's something I miss. I kind of miss the original Cantina guys band. Not the one with the green guy, the CGI green guy, and the CGI freaking whatever singer creature she was. Just the original non-special edition freaking band. Yup, nub. Yeah, no. Well, it's good news if you don't want to have to worry about making characters up. It is cross-promotional. So, but we are halfway through the stream and we have questions. And our first question comes from Kirk. The clarinet players that look like they came from the old Outer Limits. Out Limits? Yes. You missed the prefix Star Wars. Well, you know what? I actually have an unopened, unauthorized copy, and it says so. I may show it to you guys next week. But I have an unopened, unauthorized copy of the despecialization Blu-ray of all 3 original Star Wars movies. And it actually says despecialized edition. I mean, this probably has the old the original where Yoda or where Jabba isn't in the hangar with the Millennium Falcon. It's the old guy who's wearing the freaking the King Henry VIII outfit, and Han walks behind him and everything else. And I mean, like, it's got all that. You got Star Wars on Laserdisc. Han always shoots first. Exactly. Anyway, our first question comes from Kirk. I don't want any money for it, Kevin. My wife got it for me for a Christmas present, but she got it off of Amazon. So you might be able to find it. But our first question comes from Kirk, and Kirk asks, what are some times in history where someone was replaced by an imposter? What's the oldest story, true or false, of this happening? Now, before we answer this question, there has to be some background to this question. And the background of this question is that I don't know, and the chat doesn't know, if the Kirk in the chat is the original Kirk, a clone, or a Mirrorverse version, because Kirk's email that he uses, well, first, Kirk's Discord account got locked out somehow. He doesn't know how. So he had to create another Discord account. And then his email recently got hacked. So we don't know if Kirk is real or not. Kirk must show us something that only the real original Kirk would know. Now, Puffy Cheeto suggested in the Discord brownies. But this new Kirk said the last time he tried brownies, they were all gooey and mushy and they didn't come out right, so he's afraid to try again. Which can only mean that it's a Mirrorverse Kirk and not the real Kirk, and the Mirrorverse Kirk doesn't know our ingredients for brownies. I don't know. Very suspicious of fake Kirk. Kirk's like, just made his night. I'm glad. And all government officials are replaced with, hey. I technically am a government official because I work for a 4-letter agency, not a 3-letter agency, but a 4-letter agency. And I think it's the only 4-letter agency in the government. I see you got NSA, CIA, FBI. My 4-letter agency falls under a 3-letter agency. It falls under DHS, but yeah, I think I work in the only 4-letter agency. So does that mean that the odd-numbered lettered agencies are the evil agencies, and the even-numbered lettered agencies are the good agencies? OSHA's not a government agency. Unfortunately, OSHA is not a government agency. But yes, FEMA is a government agency. Got locked and hacked. Sure. We know Kirk is an evil twin. We just know we don't know which Kirk is which. Mirrorverse has no brownies. Now that's sad. No, they might have brownies. They just might have different ingredients for their brownies. CISA's just a department. It's not a full agency. FEMA is definitely evil. I'm an exception. Oh. I appreciate that I'm the exception, but I know plenty of FEMA people in my cadre in the EHP Corps, which is the Environmental and Historic Preservation cadre, who are not evil. Mirrorverse has sin warbs. I like it, Jim. I like it. So, with that being said, with the background being said, let's go back to the question. And the question wants to know if there is any times in history where someone was replaced by an imposter. And I actually had to do some digging with this. And to be fair, there have been. Imposters have appeared across history from ancient empires to modern courts. One of the oldest well-documented, let me go back to live scene so you can see me there. One of the oldest well-documented cases is the Achaemenid episode where a Magian called Gumata allegedly impersonated Bardia, circa 522 BCE. Now, as we all know, BCE is before Common Era. Here's a quick list of notable historical imposters. Gumata, otherwise known as the pseudo-Bardia, and we hate pseudo anything, so. A Magian who, according to Darius's Behistun inscription and later historians, claimed to be Bardia, or Smirdis, son of Cyrus, and seized the Persian throne for a short time before being overthrown. This is among the earliest well-attested political imposters in surviving records. Pseudo-Nero, or Pseudo-Neros. Apparently there was multiple people who claimed to be the son of Nero, or Nero the Emperor returned himself. Late 1st century Common Era. After Nero's death in 68 CE, several claimants appeared in the Eastern Roman world claiming to be the Emperor returned. Ancient sources recorded at least 2 or 3 such pretenders who briefly rallied followers. Later famous examples, uncited here for brevity. False Dimitris in early 17th century Russia. Perkin Warbeck claimed to be Richard of York in the 15th century England. Anna Anderson, 20th century, who claimed to be the Grand Duchess Anastasia. These show the same pattern. Political or dynastic uncertainty and popular hope equal fertile ground for imposture. Oh, no. You asked, wrong, Kirk. We'll go back to the question. You said, what's the oldest story, true or false, of this happening? And true is truth. There were many people. There have always been imposters. I mean, some do impostoring for good. Some do impostoring for bad. Like, there's a certain list that is populated by a 3-letter agency. And it's a 3-letter worded list. And it has all of certain types of people with their certain types of aliases. And if it ever got out, it would be very, very, very dangerous for those individuals. I don't know if Saddam Hussein said he was Nebuchadnezzar reincarnated. I can look that up for you later, but I do not know. I don't think so. But I could be wrong. I don't know. All I know is we found Saddam Hussein in a spider hole, and that he gassed his own people from his own hometown with mustard gas. So, are we counting any of the emperors or pharaohs who claim to be God as imposters, or are we believing that they were not gods? They were imposter gods. But here's the thing. Can you really call them imposter gods when they worshipped cats as gods? And that they were imposters to beings who probably didn't exist? I mean, to be an imposter of somebody, you probably... So, okay, for instance, how about we look at Hollywood for this? And I'm not talking pharaohs and gods. I'm talking England, circa 18 something, maybe. Definitely between 1700 and 1800. The man in the iron mask was supposedly the eldest twin son of one of the kings. I don't remember which king. I'm not going to look it up right now. But it was Leonardo DiCaprio on Leonardo DiCaprio. That's all I care about, because that movie was freaking hilarious. Now, the younger twin imposter, it pretended to be the older son, because we know in king hierarchy and monarchy hierarchy that the eldest son gets the throne. So the younger son, the younger brother, decided he was going to seize the throne with the help of Cardinal Reichlich, whatever the cardinal's name is. But that brought in technically four musketeers. Athos, Porthos, Aramis, and technically D'Artagnan. The Prince and the Pauper, the Parrot Trap. So the Moon Knight movie is a lies. Really? Yes. Probably not. I don't know. But The Man in the Iron Mask was a pretty good fable, pretty good story about imposters and stuff like that. So, I mean, heck, even Kirk, even Captain Kirk, not our Kirk, that one, Cardinal Richelieu. I don't know how to. Yeah, I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Cardinal Richelieu. But even in the Star Trek universe, every edition of Star Trek, whether it's whether it's the original series, whether it's I don't know if no, not every. The original series had a Mirrorverse episode. Enterprise series had a Mirrorverse episode. Next Gen had a Mirrorverse episode, but I don't think Voyager or DS9 had a Mirrorverse episode. But they're imposters. They're imposters to our universe. But that was a great question, Kirk. It was a fun question, and I know why you did it is based on your whole being locked out of your accounts and stuff. But you did send in another question. And this question is even better. Because for reasons you won't go into, you and some of your friends mentioned the year 78 AD. Why 78 AD? I don't have a clue. I don't know what was going on in 78 AD. And one of you guys pointed out they didn't call it 78 AD. Our BC AD calendar airing hadn't been invented yet. So the question that came up was, what did they use to track the years then? Obviously, it varies geographically. The Mediterranean era, the Far East, what will become China. Okay. Yes, but that's different than... They may have had Mirrorverse books and the special biological material, but that's different than them going to an actual Mirrorverse or having the Mirrorverse come to them. But back to the AD question. So, people in 78 AD did not use AD, as we know. They dated the events by who ruled or which magistrates held office. Romans, consuls, or ab urbe condita. By Olympiads, or local eras in the Greek world. By the Seleucid era in much of the Near East, and in China by imperial regnal years, and the sexagenary cycle, with formal era names becoming standard later. In the Mediterranean and the Near East, how Romans dated the years. Primary method, Romans normally named the year after the two serving consuls. For example, the year of the consulship of Novus and Commodus. I wonder if that's where we get if that's the root word for the name commodity and commode. But that's odd if you think about it, because a commodity is something that you want. But a commode, while it being something that you want, the stuff that goes into a commode is not something that you want. Anyway, alternative accounts. Some writers also use ab urbe condita, years since the founding of Rome. That is ab urbe condita. Greek and Hellenistic practices. The Olympiad system, Greeks often used the 4-year Olympiad cycle and could specify the year within an Olympiad or name the stadion victor for precision. Local areas and regnal dating. City-states and Hellenistic kingdoms use local magistrates, regnal years of kings, or regional areas. For example, the Secluid era across much of the Near East. The Secluid era, Anno Graecorum, or Anno Graecorum, widely used across the Hellenistic Near East and by Jewish communities for legal documents and chronicles. Far East in China. What people in China used around 78 AD was regnal years and era names. Chinese dating was tied to the emperor. Years were counted by the emperor's reign and named eras. Nianhao. Emperor Wu introduced era names earlier, and by the Han period, era names and regnal years were standard practice. Sexagenary cycle. The 60-year stem branch Ganzi cycle was also used to label years and appears in many Chinese records and inscriptions. Practical effect in 78 AD, the Chinese chronicle from that time would record the reign, years, and era name of the Han emperor and often append the sexagenary designation for cross-checking. For instance, Roman West, year of the consularship of X and X, AUC 831. Greek world, third year of the 184th Olympiad, or in the archonship of. Near East, the Seleucid era, year 389 of the Seleucid era, or Seleucid, Seleucid era. China, Yin Wu 34 Fire Ox year. That's how they would do it. There was no single global year number in 78 AD. People used local systems tied to rulers, magistrates, religious festivals, or regional eras. That's the takeaway and practical dose for all of this. This is the summed up version. I don't know how Australian Aboriginals did the years. Like saying we are in year 2 of the Trump fanfare. Yes. Or the second, or year 2 of the second era of Trump. So, with that, I hope you got something out of that. I hope it posed more questions for everybody to send me. But we have a third question for this evening before we get into Deadly Dungeon. And that question comes from our good old friend Puffy Cheeto. The retrumpeting year 2. Puffy Cheeto asks, with the drilling into permafrost and taking core samples, I know superviruses tens of thousands of years old have been found. What are the chances of them escaping from a lab after being thawed out and becoming a super pandemic? Well, Puffy Cheeto, as I told you in the Discord, for those who are not in the Discord, please join the Discord. We have fun over there. We have things like sometimes we will get into meme wars, and sometimes we just have fun chats. But join the Discord, like and share the stream, subscribe so you get, and hit the bell for notifications so you know we're going live. But, oh, excuse me, I got the hiccups. Where's me water? Aha, I got water right here. So, but to answer Puffy Cheeto's question, it's a really great question, Puffy Cheeto. And like I said in the Discord, it kind of reminds me of a little TV series back in the early to mid 2000s. Let me see. When was it? Started in 2014. So only 12 years ago. And it was on for 5 seasons. So it was only 5 years ago, or 12 years ago that it started, so not too long ago. But it starred Jocko Sims, one of my all-time favorite African-American actors. Like, he's on the list of all-time favorite African-American actors. Great guy. And Eric Dane. Puffy Cheeto likes to refer to Eric Dane as McSteamy because he was also on Grey's Anatomy as McSteamy. Thank you, Kirk. You did. You generated it right. But reminds me of season 1 and 2 of the Last Ship. They did exactly what Puffy Cheeto was asking about. They drilled into some permafrost and found a virus, and that virus they were doing it on the lab. They had the lab on the ship, military ship, mind you, an Arleigh Burke class destroyer. And they had this lab on the ship for no apparent reason. Why? But they unearthed this virus in the permafrost, and they were testing it in a lab, and somebody broke into the lab, stole the virus, and released it across the world. And the ship and a submarine and a few other things were the last things that were not affected by this virus. Now, this virus hit plants. So it wiped out food supplies for everybody, which in turn killed millions and millions and millions of people. And basically, whoever controlled the virus controlled the world. So it was us versus the Russians again. But it was us in an Arleigh Burke class destroyer versus Russians in a submarine. So, yes, rip Eric Dane. But to answer your question was about what's the chances that the virus could be thawed and will escape from the lab, cause a global pandemic. It's very low, but not zero. Most revived microbes so far infect an amoebae or bacteria. For example, anthrax, the ancient version of anthrax. And experts judge environmental release risks as comparable to other environmental reservoirs. Though unpredictable, rare events could have outsized impacts. Researchers have successfully revived ancient giant viruses, pithoviruses from 30,000-year-old permafrost, in controlled labs. Those viruses infect amoeba, not humans. And in the field, thawing permafrost has already exposed long-dormant bacterial spores, anthrax in Siberia in 2016, showing that thaw can re-expose viable pathogens. Pathogen viability needs to survive thaw and handling. Some microbes survive giant viruses, and spores have been revived. So they're already doing this stuff. Direct lab escapes probability is low. If escape occurs, pandemic probability very small for most known revived agents because they lack human tropisms. However, models and simulations show a small fraction of time-traveling pathogens could establish and cause large ecological effects. Rare but unpredictable. And time traveling is in quotes, everybody. They don't actually time travel. They're ancient, being brought to the future, to now. So it's kind of like what we did to Walt Disney when we froze him when he died so we could revive him in the future when we have a cure for cancer. I know lots of people in charge are horrible, evil, but would they really release something that would kill all crops on Earth? Plots like that, I just have a hard time suspending my disbelief. Would figure I finally created a genetically modified woolly mammoth, only to have it wiped out by an Arctic virus. Thawing factors that increase or decrease risk. Increase risk. Thawing that exposes human animal remains. Increase Arctic activity, mining, drilling, poor lab practices, and pathogens with broad host range. Well, listen, Kevin. We all know that the COVID virus was being worked on in a lab. It didn't come from bats. It was being worked on in a lab. And the only reason why it was being worked on in a lab is because it's actually the the SARS-2 variant of SARS. We already had SARS. We already had a COVID virus previously that affected millions of people in the late 80s, early 90s. This one was bioengineered from SARS-1 to SARS-2 to be more resistant to natural immunities and stuff. It was definitely, and I'm not the one to lead into conspiracy theories, but this was maybe not genetically engineered for harm, but it was being genetically engineered and worked on. So yeah, it stuff like this could absolutely happen. Low probabilities of it happening, but the probability is there. Anything has a slight risk of something. So, with that being said, I am not a biogeneticist. I don't dig up permafrost stuff. So this is everything that I've done, everything that I've found in the research. I don't want to go there. So I don't know where the question came from, Puppy Genial, but might want to check out the Last Ship, all 5 seasons. I think you'll like it. You believe the Chinese might have developed it to maybe. You have a hard time buying conspiracy anytime events can be answered by humans just being stupid. Yep, exactly. So, with that being said, everybody, we're an hour into the podcast, and we have hit that time of the podcast. That time where we go deep down the stairs into the belly of the beast, where we have our deadly dungeon. And this week's deadly dungeon is a matchup of 8 great action heroes. You have James Bond versus Xena. We have Chuck Norris versus Flash Gordon. Speed Racer versus Matthew Quigley. And Han Solo versus Jack Reacher. Now, I want to be very clear and upfront with you guys. I am very, very, very disappointed in you guys. I know it's been 2 weeks since we last saw each other for some of us because of my technical issues, but let's just take a look at some things here. You guys voted in the polls. And some people didn't vote at all because what was it say? Somebody didn't vote at all because they didn't like the freaking voter, or they didn't like the something. But that disappoints me because we had 12 votes for the multiple choice answer and 7 votes for each of the other 3 rounds or 3 battles. So we'll go through them and we'll let you know. But let's see what happens in the Deadly Dungeon, or in the Deadly Dungeon. I have to pull up that because I didn't pull that up beforehand. So, here it is. Got it right here. I already had it. It's just right here. So, the first battle we're going to do is Chuck Norris versus Flash Gordon, because we all like Chuck Norris, and we all like the fact that Flash Gordon has a backing track of Queen, right? Kevin can't talk because just so upset. Yokai, you don't have a pick between them? Well, I could change that. I could try and figure out something. So let's delve into Chuck Norris and Flash Gordon first. Competitor profiles. Chuck Norris is master martial arts martial arts master, exceptional striking power, high durability, expert in improvised weapons and close quarters control. Flash Gordon is an athletic interstellar hero, skilled pilot and marksman, experienced with futuristic tech and battlefield improvisation, good at hit and run tactics. Flash Gordon kind of sounds like freaking Han Solo if you really get down to it, doesn't he? We got the tactical plans. Chuck closes rapidly, neutralizes ranged weapons with movement and cover, uses superior hand-to-hand skill to end fights quickly. Well, that's how you should vote, Yokai. Cody, welcome in. Flash's plan is to keep distance, use ranged weapons and gadgets, exploit mobility and piloting experience to control engagement, tempo, and terrain. In the 100 battle simulation, we have Chuck Norris winning 57% of the time, with Flash Gordon winning 43% of the time. And Chuck Norris wins in the simulation. Chuck Norris wins more often by forcing close, neutralizing Flash's ranged advantages with movement and timing. Flash's victories come when he can keep the fight at range, use gadgets or vehicles, and avoid Chuck's clinch windows. However, you guys overwhelmingly, actually, you guys didn't overwhelmingly. You guys flipped the script. 57% voted for Flash Gordon, purely based on musical background taste of Queen. 43% chose Chuck Norris. Our next battle. That disappointed me. Well, it really disappointed me that you guys would still choose, even though I wholeheartedly expected Chuck Norris because nobody could beat Chuck Norris. Not even death. Chuck Norris died like 20 years ago. Death didn't just tell him until this year, didn't he? But I mean, I thought Chuck Norris was going to go all the way. See what I know. I know, Puffy Cheeto. I know. But your heart hurt before because Nicolas Cage was out. Anyway. The power of Queen compels you. I love you guys. I really do. You guys are what makes Friday evenings so enjoyable. I know I'm here to give you guys the relief, but you guys actually build this show, so I thank you for that. Our next battle is James Bond versus Xena, Warrior Princess. Now, James Bond is an elite MI6 operative, precision marksmanship, tactical training, and stealth and gadgetry, excels at controlled, efficient takedowns. Xena is a legendary warrior with exceptional melee skills, acrobatics, and the chakram. And she's got high durability and battlefield instincts. Bond's plan is to maintain standoff distance, use precise shots and tactical positioning, employ gadgets to create openings or distractions. Xena's plan is to close quickly, using acrobatics and cover, and uses her chakram to disarm or disrupt Bond's firearms, then finish in brutal melee. However, again, quite the shocker for me, because I would have expected in the Battlefield simulation that James Bond would be the winner. But I would be wrong. With 61 wins under her belt, Xena beats James Bond and his 39 wins. Xena wins most matchups by closing the distance and exploiting superior melee skills and the chakram's disruptive utility. Bond wins when he controls the engagement range, uses gadgets to deny approach, and lands decisive shots before Xena can close. However, what do we always say? We always say we don't go by my Battlefield simulator. We go by what the polls in the chat, what you, the fans, wanted. And again, with a 57 to 43%, James Bond wins in the polls. James Bond. I don't think it's fair to pick Queen up versus Chuck, like giving Flash Gordon to be honest, Chuck is a shoe-in to win the whole thing. He should officiate because anything else isn't fair. Well, maybe. Cena's got huge tracts of land. You're not. Well, I think they were push-up. If you see her now, she's not got huge tracts of land. Kevin said, okay, I lied. I thought I could stay quiet, but I guess not. Sorry. Lied about what? Kirk's real answer to this is that Bond and Xena hook up, and then they join forces to fight Smirsh. Oh, I like that. But again, you guys absolutely killed it. I think Bond would have won. I still think Bond wins. Even you guys think Bond wins because Bond's got something that Xena doesn't have, and that's Q. Whether you like Desmond Llewellyn or John Cleese, Bond has Q. That's all I got to say. And maybe that should be our next bracket, the best sidekick. That comes later. Maybe best Anna Martini. Yeah, Anna Martini. Desmond. So taking it back. Yes, Q is the man. And looking back at things, do you guys remember? What is it? It's not. Is it The World Is... Yeah, it's The World Is Not Enough, the third Brosnan movie, because the last one was Die Another Day, and that one was full Cleese. Desmond Llewellyn introduced John Cleese as R. Well, not really R, but Pierce mentions to Desmond, if you're Q, does that make him R? At the end of that scene, Desmond Llewellyn is supposed to be retiring, right? But that was not supposed to be his final scene. The scene where he says always have an exit strategy and he lowers himself down in the pit. That was not supposed to be his last scene of the movie. However, Desmond Llewellyn passed away a few weeks after, like 2 weeks after filming that scene, before he was supposed to film his next scene. So that is the last time we ever see Desmond Llewellyn on screen. Yeah, why not? I like that. Q's gadgets were pretty crazy. Did you see the submarine sandwich? That was pretty crazy. That was pretty crazy. Oh wait, that was his lunch. Not a gadget. Anyway, we're getting off topic. We're getting off track. Our next matchup is Speed Racer versus Matthew Quigley. Now, It's pretty hard to match up a guy with a rifle in the late 18 to early 1900s with a guy in a futuristic sports car with gadgets. Which is why today's episode is called Gadgets Galore, because who has gadgets? Frickin' James Bond has gadgets. Flash Gordon has gadgets. Speed Racer has gadgets. And Han Solo has gadgets. Gadgets galore, right? Thought that was pretty spot on. But it's pretty hard to pit a guy with a long rifle against a guy with a basically bulletproof sports car with gadgets. Did you guys ever think Speed Racer was just the animated version of Knight Rider? Only the Mach 5 didn't talk. If the Mach 5 talked, would it sound like it? I'm getting off topic. Those are questions. But let's see. Speed Racer versus Matthew Quigley. An elite racer, elite driver with Mach 5 and built-in vehicle gadgets. Supreme vehicle control and split-second reflexes behind the wheel. Let's see. Who came first? Speed Racer or... The original Japanese anime series, Mach Go Go Go, which was localized as Speed Racer, debuted in April 1967. In contrast, the live-action television series, Knight Rider, featuring the character Michael Knight and his talking indestructible car KITT, premiered on September 26, 1982. So Speed Racer came first. So, would that be Knight Rider is what would have happened if Speed and the Mach 5 went into detective work? Who knows? That may be a question for another time. But Matthew Quigley is a legendary long-range sharpshooter, patient, precise, and deadly at distance with a high-powered rifle. Speed's plan is to use the Mach 5 to control the distance, employ driving gadgets to disable or outmaneuver Quigley. I mean, what driving gadgets could you use to disable Matthew Quigley? He's on a horse. And he avoids dismounting the Mach 5 in a pure fight. So he basically just drives away. Quigley's plan is to use extreme long-range precision to disable the vehicle or driver before Speed could use gadgets, pick vantage points, and deny approach. Now, could Matthew Quigley disable the engine? Is the Mach 5 truly indestructible? I mean, you could shoot out the tires, and then Speed Racer couldn't go anywhere. But in our 100 battle simulation, undeniably, Speed Racer wins 69% of the time. Well, Matthew Quigley only wins 31% of the time. Because Speed Racer wins most engagements by using the Mach 5 to avoid Quigley's sightlines and by employing gadgets to neutralize threats. Quigley's path to victory is precise. Find a prepared long-range firing position and disable the vehicle or driver before Speed can react. And that's the main thing. The Mach 5 is an open cockpit car, so you could set up a vantage point where you could effectively take out Speed without even having to damage the car. But we don't ask. We don't go off of the simulation. We go off of the Discord. And this one, I'm telling you guys got this one absolutely spot on. Let me see something here. You guys got this one. You guys did. You guys got this one nearly spot on. You guys voted. You guys voted 71% for Speed Racer and 29% for Matthew Quigley. And I can tell you who exactly voted for Speed Racer and who voted for Matthew Quigley. And the only two that voted for Matthew Quigley are myself and Jim. And that's primarily because we're old and we like long-range rifle shooting. So thank you for that, Jim. I really appreciate that. Voting for me with Matthew Quigley. And our last battle. Our last battle of the evening. I asked you guys in the Discord to answer multiple questions for this one. Did Han shoot first? And this is what annoyed me. I asked you guys for Han versus Reacher. And if Han cheated or if Han didn't cheat it. Did he shoot first or did he didn't shoot first? Now this question was supposed to be Han or Reacher and whether or not Han shot first. Well, I don't know what happened. 12 votes for this question. 7 voted. All 7 of you who voted that Han shot first, he cheated. Perfect. That's great. Because we all know Han shot first. And we all know he's a lovable, scruffy-looking nerf herder rogue. But what didn't happen is only 4 of you voted for Han and 1 of you voted for Jack. That doesn't add up the math. And I can tell you who voted for Jack. Kirk. I can tell you who didn't vote for anybody. But I'm assuming that the 2 individuals who voted for Han cheats, yes, who also didn't vote in the other thing, because I have the 3 there, wanted Han to win. But I can't use that as part of the metric. So I had to do some quick math here and fix this. But you guys overwhelmingly wanted Han to win. So let's break it down. Yeah, but Kirk, laser gun. I don't think Reacher is used to laser gun. So, Han's a veteran smuggler, marksman, quick thinker, excellent with a blaster, improvisational, and adept at dirty tricks and piloting. And what's also not said is, if you remember the original Star Wars TCG, the original Star Wars trading card game, right? Kind of like Magic the Gathering, but it was Star Wars. This is never stated in any of the Star Wars canon, universe, whatever, but it is stated on the card. Did you know that if Han was not a smuggler, Han could have been a Jedi, a Force user? He was Force attuned, which actually is alluded to in several novels and in the movie, because we know 12 parsecs is a distance. It's not a time, it's a distance. And that nobody but Force users can actually traverse the asteroid field that surrounds the Maw installation. And a Maw installation is actually the black hole that they built the original Death Star in, or around, where they built things like the Executor, which was the super Star Destroyer that Vader had, and everything else. It was built around a black hole. And the Darksaber. The Darksaber was just the weapon part of the Death Star that they created into a ship. Big giant lightsaber looking thing. And Han was one of the only few pilots who could actually navigate without having navigation on his ship through the massive asteroid field that surrounds us. So Han is Force attuned, so he could have been a Jedi. But Jax, a former military MP and drifter, exceptional close quarters combatant, tactical thinker, high durability, an expert at using an environment and improvised weapons. On paper, these two seem like they would match up pretty equally. Right? That's what I'm saying. He does have far too much good, bad luck. Being Force sensitive would make sense. Exactly. He also cheated so don't believe the Solo movie. That Solo movie was garbage. Absolutely nothing to do with Han Solo ever. Was not how Han Solo's how he was brought up. It was not how he started life. Nothing. His actual last name is Solo, and he actually comes from the line of Sal Solo, Randil Sal Solo, and something else. His family were actually aristocrats on Corellia, and they were murdered, and he got away or something like that. He did end up joining the Imperial Navy, where during the building of the first Death Star, he saw a group of Wookiees being severely mistreated. So he stepped in, one of those Wookiees being Chewbacca. He saved Chewbacca's life, which actually led to Chewbacca giving Han the life debt. That may be in the Solo movie because that's pretty big canon stuff. But how Han got his last name of Solo is not canon, is not right. How he won the Falcon from Lando in the movie may have some semblance to it, but Han was using a trick Sabak chip where he could actually determine the number on the chip. He knew what he was doing when he went into the Sabak game in the book canon. And I know I'm going off topic because I want to a little bit. But he knew what he was going into when he went into that Sabak game. He knew that Lando didn't have enough money to cover certain bets. So when Lando told Han, if you win, you can have any ship on my lot, because Lando at the time was a used starship dealer. He was a used car salesman. And this was all before he became mayor of Cloud City. Han knew that Lando brought his yacht, the Lady Luck, to the game. So he bet and won. And when they got to the dealership, or when they got to the starship lot, Han chose the Millennium Falcon. Lando tried backing out of that deal, saying, I didn't say that ship. I said any ship on my lot. Han's like, well, that ship's on your lot. And so Lando had to abide by it. No, it did not come with the damn stupid freaking ejecto thingy capsule in the front between the mandibles. Absolutely not. I hated that idea. Because it was a cargo cruiser. It was a cargo hauler. They pushed cargo through there. So why are people deleting messages? Kevin was hidden by Jim. Anyway, Anyway, I dive too far. Han's my favorite Star Wars character, guys. That's just so let's see here. Han's tactics is to keep distance, use accurate blaster fire and cover, employ quick movement and dirty tricks to create shooting windows, use piloting or vehicles if available. Reacher's plan is to close the gap, use superior hand-to-hand and grappling to neutralize Han's firearm, exploit cover and timing to create disarm opportunities. So, with that being said, the battle simulation chose Jack Reacher to win 55% of the time to Han Solo's 45% of the time. Didn't I tell you guys, these two people, their profiles are so equally matched that there's a 10% difference between the two of them. Any one of them could have won. Reacher wins slightly more often by closing the distance and using superior close quarters techniques to neutralize Han's ranged advantage. Han's victories come when he maintains distance, uses cover and piloting options, and lands precise shots before Reacher can close. That's that. That's that. And if you guys want to look, Han, you guys chose Han. I'm going to say you guys chose Han based on some things that I looked at. But Han in the Discord wins 80% of the time. To your guys is 20% of the time for Jack Reacher. Good ticket a week, Weekend Pirate. Well, Kirk, you're almost done. I'm fixing to go to to choose our next battles, and then we can leave. Reacher is better soldier, but Han cheats, and I believe is smarter. Yeah, I like that. Absolutely. But since, well, this is our bracket so far. Rick O'Connell's moved forward, Ash has moved, Flash has gone forward, Jason Bourne, Laura Croft, James Bond, Speed Racer, and Han Solo. Bye, Kirk. See you next week. For all of those who are staying, we are here. We are back to the choosing of the next group of competitors. With that being said, and without further ado, Wheel of Morality, or Wheel of Mortality, turn. Tell us the next two who we should burn. Oh! Bruce Lee versus Conan the Barbarian is up first. Are we doing 4? I think we'll do 4. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? That would leave us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would leave us 2 weeks to do. So yeah, let's do all 4. Wheel of Mortality. Turn. Give us our next 2 that we should burn. John Wick versus Alex Murphy. Oh, that's going to be fun. That one right there is going to be fun. I cannot wait to see your guys' responses to that one. Battle 3. It's going to be Riddick versus the Man with No Name. And our final battle for next week. Oh, I cannot wait. This is an interesting set. Hey, you know what? Kirk left. But he has to go against John McClane next week. James Tiberius Kirk versus John McClane. And that's it. And technically, we have our next matchup for the following week. So, I don't even think we need to freaking run the wheel next week. If we're doing 4. That's not fair to John McClane. That's not fair to Kirk. What are you talking about? I mean, if Kirk decides he's going to be all dramatic when he speaks, then he's really going to bore John McClane, and John's just going to shoot him. Don't you think? Anyway, thank you guys for spending an hour and 40 minutes with me tonight. I want to thank everybody, and we will discuss more on my novel later. And maybe in the Discord, maybe on another show. But yeah. So we are at the end. Good things of the week. Let's see. We made it to Friday. I have a class. Well, we could do Shatner's bad acting versus Bruce Willis's bad acting. I mean, got to take it away. Got to pick a gift from a booklet from my job and got a new TV. Only to work there 20 years to get a free gift. Is the TV at least worth 20 years? Better be like an 80. It better be like an 80 to 100 inch TV for 20 years. But yeah, so let's see. Good thing of the week for me. I'm getting new. I got new internet. I'm leaving. I think we're leaving Cox. We just got fiber, AT&T fiber installed to the house, so we're leaving Cox internet. So got fiber internet. So I got to rewire things in the room and everything else. But 32 inch TV. That's the size of my monitor. I am sorry. No more coxing it up. No, it's going AT&T fiber. Same speeds, but apparently AT&T fiber has better upload and download speed because it's fiber instead of Cox Gigablast internet, which I don't get the speeds that I'm supposed to get on wireless. I'm supposed to get Gigablast speeds wirelessly, but I can only get Gigablast speeds when it's wired up. So, but with that being said, I thank everybody for showing up tonight, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. We are on every weekend or every Friday. There is a poll in the Discord to determine whether or not we stay on Friday night. And if we do stay on Friday night, do we move it to an hour early? Because there are individuals who would like to join us, only they are always sleepy because they have things to do in the mornings. So, yes, it is late. It is a late show. So I'm leaving it up to you guys. I'm leaving it up to Discord. Do we move it to a different day? Same time, different day? Or different time, different day? Or do we leave it on Fridays and move it early? Or do we not move it at all? With that being said, thanks everybody for joining Puffy Cheeto. I hope your brother liked the podcast. Kevin, Kurt, welcome. Always great to see you. Jim, welcome back. There was one more. It was Cody. Cody, welcome in. I don't know where you went, but welcome in. Welcome back. We will be back here next week. Same time. Same channel. Please send me questions to roguebardadvice@gmail.com. I can't do this show without you guys. You guys are the beating heart of this show. I can't do this without the questions that you send. And yes, while some of the questions I do get a laugh at, I will always answer questions. So, your job goes until 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday. Well, okay. So that's 8:30 at the earliest we can start. So, I got thing of the week. is the show today. Glad to see everyone. Thanks for the stream. Chris, good night. Take care. Good night, everybody. And I will see you all next week.